Now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews, exclusively here as always on the Casa D18 Studios channel. I, of course, am your host, the Renegade JJ Williams. Happy Wednesday, and today we're going to be discussing the science fiction film Freejack as part of movies that star musicians, starring Emilio Estevez, Mick Jagger, Rene Russo, Anthony Hopkins, Jonathan Banks, Esai Morales, Amanda Plummer, and David Johansen. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me here once again for another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews. As I said in the introduction, today we're going to continue going through our movies that star musicians, with today's entry starring the lead singer of the legendary Rolling Stones, Mick Jagger, Freejack. And our movie opens in the year 2009, where the super wealthy achieve immortality by hiring bonejackers, mercenaries equipped with time travel devices in order to snatch people from the past just prior to the moment of their deaths for use as substitute bodies. Those who escape are known as freejacks and are considered less than human under the law. Now, in this dystopian future, most people suffer from poor physical health as a result of rampant drug use and environmental pollution, thereby making them unattractive as replacement bodies. Meanwhile, Alex Furlong is a Formula One racer who is about to die in a spectacular crash in the year 1991. All of a sudden, a time machine snatches Alex from the cockpit and into the 21st century. New York City, which is now a futuristic dystopia that is populated by killers and scavengers. When Alex's captors are ambushed by a hit squad, Alex is able to escape from Victor Vasindik, a hardened mercenary who has snatched him on behalf of the powerful McCandless Corporation. Alex's former fiancée, Julie Redland, is now an executive at McCandless, handling high-stakes mineral negotiations with a rival Japanese firm. Alex spends much of his time escaping the clutches of Vasindik, a ruthless pursuer who nevertheless lives by a code of honor, all while trying to rekindle his relationship with Julie. Now, besides evading Vasindik's army of mercenaries and McCandless private personnel, Alex and Julie also have to deal with fleeing from the private guards of McCandless's corporate XO, Mark Michelet, who is gunning for McCandless's position. Alex quickly finds out that he can't trust his old friends from 1991, who are now eager to sell him out. After an encounter wherein Alex spares Vasindik's life, Julie rescues him in one of Vasindik's vehicles. Tired of running, Alex pretends to take Julie hostage and negotiates with Michelet to arrange a meeting, counting on the fact that Michelet will not know about their past relationship. However, Michelet has seen the footage of Julie's grief just after Alex's 1991 car accident. After she slaps Michelet in return for his mockery, the couple once again flee. They are thwarted when they encounter a gunfight in the lobby between two factions, now in opposition, McCandless's security guards and Vasindik's mercenaries. Now, Julie plans to leave the building through an escape module on the 100th floor, but the elevator takes them automatically to the complex at the very top of the building, known as the spiritual switchboard, where McCandless's mind is in storage. In a virtual reality encounter with McCandless's essence, he explains to Julie his goal: to use Alex's body to satiate his love for Julie. After apologizing, he offers to go ahead and die and let Alex run the company under the guise of being McClindus. As they consider the offer, Vicendic arrives, and McClindus reveals that he was merely stalling for time. Alex fights the process as Michelet stumbles in, wounded from fighting Vicendic's soldiers. In confusion, Julie grabs the gun of the soldier holding her and fires off a shot that disrupts the transfer process. The results are inconclusive as to whether or not it's McClindus or Furlong in Alex's body. The scientists cannot determine the answer, but Vicendic can, as only Vicendic knows a secret code that McClindus gave him. Alex reads the code slowly, and Vicendic asks him to continue. Alex finishes the code quickly, and Michelet tries to kill Alex, but is gunned down by Vicendic's men. Alex remarks about how he feels in his new body before telling Julie that she will be dressed more appropriately so that the two of them can take a drive. Hours later, after the coup is over, Julie and Alex get into one of McClindus's favorite vehicles, and Alex tells the driver that he will do the driving today. Vicendic steps in and stops them as the car leaves the estate. It turns out that the transfer was not completed after all. Alex got McClindus's secret number completely wrong, but Vicendic went along with it. He simply waited until Alex made a mistake, as McClindus did not know how to drive. Vicendic then tells Julie that she'll have to coach him better than that, and then leaves while Alex and Julie speed away, and our movie comes to its end. This was an interesting movie to watch for me. I remember vaguely seeing trailers of this when the movie was first coming out in 1990, 1991. And it looked decent, but it didn't compel me enough to really want to go and see it. I was just barely getting into Emilio Estevez at the time. I think I had maybe seen Young Guns or Young Guns 2 because I remember seeing the sequel first. The Mighty Ducks was still a year off. So I was just barely starting to dabble in Emilio. Didn't really know who Rene Russo was at the time. Didn't really know who Anthony Hopkins was at the time. Barely knew who Mick Jagger was, if I'm being honest, because while the Stones were a staple in my family, we were Beatles people, not as much Stones people. So while I knew some of the Stones' music, I didn't know them and know Mick as well as I do now. And I didn't have the appreciation for him as I do now. But seeing all these things come together, I thought this was a well-told story. You've got this dystopian future in 2009, which I guess in 1991, 2009 seemed pretty far off. But here in 2023, looking back on what they thought 2009 was going to be like, yeah, you missed the mark there. But it was a fun look at a supposed future and what could have been in just a matter of 18 years if we really put the technology to use for us. You think about teleportation, time travel, body snatching, like, who knows what could have happened if we had really tried based off of what we thought could happen here. But I thought Emilio did a great job as Alex. You really kind of got a little bit of that Billy the Kid snark mixed with that Gordon Bombay arrogance that you get in the very first Mighty Ducks. Considering this kind of came in the middle of those two projects, you could really kind of sense it a little bit in him. There's even a scene where he kind of sort of resembles Billy, by wearing the hat and the coat and everything. But I digress. Mick Jagger, though, he's the central focus of this because he's Vasindik. He's the arch nemesis for a good majority of the film, and he's the musician. And this is supposed to be focusing on movies that star musicians. I thought Mick Jagger did a great job. I honestly don't know why Mick Jagger hasn't had more movies in his filmography. I thought he did a great job as Vasindik. Anthony Hopkins as the man who wanted to snatch Alex's body, Ian McClendis, thought he did awesome. His role wasn't huge, but it was very well defined. His character had a good sense of what he wanted, where he wanted to take his arc. So he wasn't needed for a whole lot of scenes because it was very much defined that Vasindik was stealing Alex's body for McClendis. So we didn't even have to meet McClendis until it was time for the big reveal. And then to find out that he's in love with Julie, and that's why he did all this. You know, it's one of those things that, like, it always seems to come down to a woman. And while his desires seemed noble, his means of execution were not. And he has to learn that lesson when Alex finally defeats him. You know, but I did. I thoroughly enjoyed this film. I kind of wish I had seen it sooner, especially with the cast. I mean, Emilio Estevez, Anthony Hopkins, Rene Russo, Mick Jagger. Like, there was a stellar cast here. And I kind of kick myself for not having seen this sooner. When it comes to my rating for this, and you might be a little bit caught off because of how positively I've spoken about this, but I'm rating it a little bit lower because of how long it took me to see it, and I'm hoping and praying that upon repeat viewings, it's just going to climb that ladder for me. But I'm going to start off 3.5 out of 5 stars for Freejack. I definitely think this was a great movie. Maybe it would be 4 stars for me if I had seen it in 91, 92, 93, 94, well before 2009, the future that it's set in. And I hadn't already had lived through the future that this movie is being set in. And if I had seen it back in the 90s, at least, maybe I'd rank it a little bit higher because we didn't know what the future was going to be at that point. But watching it in 2023 and seeing the future of 2009 through 1991 eyes after already living through 2009, you know, which was 14 years ago now, it's a little hard. It is. But 3.5 out of 5 stars for Freejack. What do you guys think? And specifically, what do you think about Mick Jagger's performance in it? Let me know. If you're watching the premiere, leave your thoughts and comments over here. And if you're watching on demand later in the day, leave your thoughts and comments down here. Let's have that conversation, that discussion, that debate, that interaction that I'm always asking you guys for in the comments below. And make sure you guys tune in tomorrow, right here to the Casa D18 Studios channel, as we once again go back in time for another week of Throwback Thursday. That's right, you're going to be seeing classic episodes of Talk Wrestling, No DQ and AV, and the No DQ Review, all courtesy of the No DQ YouTube channel. You're going to see the Indie Force podcast, courtesy of the J. Hebert 95 side of things and FTW Productions. You're going to see the ATW View, thanks to the Simple Man's brand. And you're going to see Dad's Not Always on Wrestling. You're going to see Stat Boy Rants. You're going to see Renegade of Wrestling. You're going to see a Hardy Conversation, all courtesy of the Casa D18 Studios channel. And of course, who can forget the show that has become the Saturday Night Shenanigans, Open Mic Night, courtesy of the Jeff Meacham Network. All kinds of classic episodes from those brands and those titles coming across your YouTube screens tomorrow, for Throwback Thursday. And then on Friday, right back here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, we'll be here for another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews as we round out this week of movies that star musicians, and we'll be discussing Class Act, starring Kid and Play, Karen Parsons, Thomas Michael Ford, Rick Ducommun, Alyssa Rogers, Dougie Doug, Lamont Johnson, Loretta Devine, Pauly Shore, Meshack Taylor, and Rhea Perlman. You don't want to miss out on any of that content right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel. Throwback Thursday, Renegades Reviews, Class Act, and so much more in store right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel. You don't want to miss out on any of it. So make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure that notification bell is turned on so you don't miss out anytime a video drops right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel or anytime we go live, as is the case with Statboy Sports Bar, Open Mic Night, pay-per-view PLE coverage, etc. Share these videos with your family, friends, loved ones, coworkers, movie fanatics, cinephiles in your life, fans of Emilio Estevez, fans of Mick Jagger, fans of the Rolling Stones, fans of Rene Russo, fans of Anthony Hopkins. Anybody you can think of that would enjoy this content in this video, share it with them. It's the only way we're going to keep my visibility up in the YouTube algorithms now that we are, in fact, a monetized channel. Thank you once again to everybody out there who joined me, tuned in today, and that assisted in helping us get to that mark where we are a monetized platform. It means so much more to me than you guys will ever know, and I will see you guys next time.